The Kickstarter fairy came. Hi, it's Ryan from Knights Around a Table, and I'm going to unbox something today. Whoa, you hear the word unbox. Head for the hills, watch another YouTube video. If you've never watched a Knights Around a Table unboxing video before, and I haven't done one in a little while, there's a bit of blah, blah, blah. I'm going to put chapter headings in the show notes below. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can click one of those and jump ahead to the actual unboxing part if that's what you're here for. Hopefully not, though, because these videos, I'd like to think they're more about the journey than the destination. So let's journey, shall we? And I'll tell you all about what's going on here. This is Terraforming Mars, a very popular game, tableau builder, card game. I didn't buy it for the longest time because the complaint I heard was that there's a lot of tracking that goes on with cubes on a board, and if you have the slightest jolt of the table and those cubes, or you reach for snacks and you knock the cubes out of place, it kind of like wrecks all the progress in the game. Really, people said the boards should be recessed so that the cubes fit in the little indents and they don't go anywhere. They're less prone to move. And some people I know who bought Terraforming Mars actually went on Etsy and bought like acrylic or wood overlays for their mats with recesses in them so that the cubes could fit in. And the overlays were all like, I don't know, you get them, they were like $5-10 a piece. So it really cranked up the expense of the game, I thought. And I thought, well, I'm not going to mess with that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to wait until they do the right thing and they build recessed boards for the game. And so 2 years ago, I think 2 years ago in February, they came out with a Kickstarter for this Turmoil, which is, I think, the 3rd expansion for Terraforming Mars. And the big innovation with this Turmoil campaign was they were going to send out recessed boards. You could buy them separately if you already owned the game, or if you were like me, didn't own the game, you'd get Turmoil and Venus Next, and what is this one, Colonies, and the base game, and recessed boards. And I'd always told myself, I will not buy it until there's recessed boards. Now there were, so I bought it. That was that Kickstarter campaign. Then a year later, they came out with this thing. This is the Terraforming Mars Big Box, aka Terraforming Mars 3D. So what's inside, as we'll shortly find out, is they've taken all the tiles that you're putting on Mars to build it up and build, different cities and different areas on the planet, and they've made those cool little 3D tiles. Cool little, I don't know, we'll open it up and find out. This is yesterday's news, because I live in Canada. So everybody who backed this Kickstarter campaign got this thing like a month and a half ago, and they've been talking about it and putting pictures up on social media. So odds are you've already seen pictures of what this looks like, and nothing about this is going to be new to you. It's going to be very, am I really selling this video for you? This is going to be a dull ass video. Strap in. I don't know. Maybe you live in Canada like me and you're sad and you're wondering why Canada has like third world country status for shipping and why we get everything months and months after everybody. I'm not sure why either, but I finally got it. So here we go. Now I want to show you a comparison of the thickness of the different boxes. So there's Terraforming Mars 3D, and then look at that. Wow, it's like huge. It's like a double thick box, and I think it's one of those things where the top lifts off and you got a bottom with a collar on it. So that's quite a difference. This would have been one of the largest board game boxes in my collection. I mean, it's up there with Scythe and with Black Angel. That's a huge box. But then this happened. This is by far the biggest box of my board game collection. This is Mind Clash's Anachrony, the Infinity Box. There's just no, I was going to say no contest. It's not a contest, really, is it? It's not, this is not a penis measuring contest, but between Stronghold Games and Mind Clash Games, Mind Clash Games has the bigger penis. Whatever, it's a big box. I'm going to open it. And while I do, let me ask you about something. Get my craft knife out. I saw some people beefing about Stronghold Games on Facebook the other day because Stronghold Games, like so many board game publishers, they're trying to develop an IP, an intellectual property, out of this Terraforming Mars thing, because Terraforming Mars did well. So why not get the same artist and maybe the same designers and set like a whole pile of games in the Terraforming Mars universe? Because it's easier to sell something to somebody who's already bought something from you than it is to sell a whole new customer. So that was the plan when they released Ares Expedition, which is like a Terraforming Mars adjacent card game. But I saw people griping because apparently what happened with Stronghold is that they inked some sort of exclusive deal with Target in the United States, and the people who backed Ares Expedition on Kickstarter had not yet received their copies of Ares Expedition before copies began to appear on Target store shelves. So a bunch of people, I think, were pretty upset about that. Now, the copy that appeared on store shelves is the retail version, and the people who backed Ares Expedition on Kickstarter are getting more of a souped-up version with more bells and whistles. But they complained, and I wanted to ask you, use the comment section below, tell me, would you be pissed if you backed a game on Kickstarter and it was available to the dirty general public before they sent you your copy? Now tell me, would you be pissed? Or is that fair dinkum? Let me know. I'm interested to hear. I don't know how I'd feel, but I do remember, I was going to say I back probably one Kickstarter a year maximum. I'm very, just because the shipping costs so much and it comes so late to Canada, and I kind of really rather wait for it to get to retail, for other people to play it and decide whether it's worth my precious time. But this year I backed two. So far, I mean, year's not over yet. I backed My Father's Work by Renegade, which looks awesome. You're a mad scientist and you're passing down your mad scientist research through 2 generations. That looks really cool. And I backed Everdell. You know what? Screw Starling Games. I've said it before and I'll say it again. They're horrid. Don't give them any of your money. But I did. For I'm a fool. But the Ares Expedition story reminds me of something that happened to me with Starling Games. What they did is they hadn't fulfilled the Alien Frontiers 4th edition, 5th edition Kickstarter before they launched a new Kickstarter for an expansion to Alien Frontiers. And that got my goat. That was my first sign that maybe Starling is a little bit customer hostile. So here we are. Opening, as I mentioned, it's one of those thicky things. So I'll shoot it from the front. Whoa, box fartometer. We're gonna give that like a 7. That was something. Right off the top, we've got this. Now, one of the things that you could purchase with this Kickstarter campaign, this is hilarious, was all the cubes, as we'll see when I open my original box, were metallic, and really they were just plastic cubes that were coated with a shiny metallic paint. And I knew from other people who had a copy of the game and played with it for years before I got mine, that the paint kind of chips off at the corners and the cubes start looking not very good. One of the things you could purchase with this Kickstarter campaign was metal cubes. So they were made of some kind of metal, and they were coated with presumably the same or similar metallic paint, because they're not going to make gold cubes out of actual gold. I looked at those and they were pretty darn expensive, so I didn't spring for them. And I also thought, like, I'm going to buy these things and the paint's going to chip off the corners of those just like it chipped off the corners of the plastic ones. So, I mean, if that bugged me about the plastic ones, why would I spend so much money on chippy cubes? The hilarious thing is that the manufacturer that Stronghold went with to make those metal cubes probably had that same idea in their brain. So when people received their metallic cubes, they found that the manufacturer had individually bagged up every single cube. So all they got was just like hundreds of little dime bags, each with a little tiny metal cube in it, which I thought was pretty hilarious. But cool, look at this. It's little bags. Now, they're a lot smaller than I imagined them, because when you see pictures of other people putting them out, of course, they're gigantic because the zoom's in there. But let me put it on the close-up camera. There's a little cool little trees and adorable. I'll gently dump out. I think those are all the parts, and I think they're probably all the same or all very similar. No, there's a couple different molds there, so that's what they look like. Very nice. That's the parks bag. And then going back over here, this is the cities bag. And again, it looks like they've got a couple of little different models for the cities. Or maybe that's the same mold. Yeah, those look really, really cool. That's cool. That's cool. That's cool. One of the things that I heard people were complaining about was the color of the tiles. They said, "Oh, you know, it's supposed to be the red planet, and these tiles are pretty brown looking." And it's like, do you know things? I don't know if you know things. Like the red planet isn't actually red. It's just kind of like a hue to the dirt. So they're built. Some of them are built so you can put your little. I guess all of them are built so you can put your little cube in the middle and lay claim to the thing that you've put down. Really neat. More cities in this bag. And let me pull out some of the lakes or some of the more unique looking pieces. There's one of those things. This is that's a dam. Damn. Not too sure what this little is. Whoa! I've lost it. It's gone. It's down the vent. I don't know what's happening. A little person holding another person's hand. Little, I think, nuclear power facility. These are really cool. Oh my gosh, this is adorable. I did not expect, I'm going to pull it away so that we can get a better focus on it. I did not expect the level of detail in these things. Look at how big my gigantic man hands are. Blah. So these are just like tiny little cool. And of course, if you wanted to add extra detail, you could paint those puppies up and make them even more awesome. And I should mention that I've got that series that I've been working on called Bits Please. Bits Please! Where I sort of try to doll up my board games, because at this point I don't really need my collection to grow any larger. I mean, it will, but I don't need that. What I'd like to do is make the existing games in my collection deeper and cooler and more visually appealing. So I would hate to be one of the people who 3D printed all of these tiles before this product even existed. I mean, that happened to me in Everdell. If you saw the second episode of Bits Please, where I was making those little Everdell walnuts, and then like a month later, the campaign launched and they said, "Oh, we're making 3D elements." I don't really like their 3D elements, though. I don't like the look of them. I think they look pretty klutzy and clumsy, and I don't know, they're looking pretty crummy. I think I can print stuff that's going to be more to my liking. But that's another question. If you've seen any of the 3D printed stuff, do you think that the custom 3D printed tiles, and I'll see if I can show you a picture of some of them, do you think that those look cooler than these ones, or do you think Stronghold did a good job on these ones? Let me know. Here is one of the lake tiles. Looks nice. Looks pretty cool. Looks shiny and gemmy. Love it. And then one of the cool, there's a couple of really funny cards in the game. One of them is like, I don't know, one of the currencies is heat, and in order to generate more heat, I think, you like nuke a section of Mars. So here's a little mushroom cloud tile that you can put down depending on a certain card that you play. Very cool. I think it looks awesome. These tiles are cool. These tires are really cool, and I like them. I like them. Good job. What else is in here? This, some standee kind of cardboardy stuff. I'm not super too sure. Oh, you're making some sort of hopper, I guess? I don't know. I can't remember. It was a year ago. By the time this shows up, you're like, I spent money on what? And then you get a little spot to stick all your 3D tiles in. Nice. There's a thumb hole in here so you can grab it easily. And there's another one. Boom. So put all the tiles in there. Digging deeper, a piece of foam. Now, I did spring for one of the extras because I mentioned Alien Frontiers before, and one of the greatest board gaming experiences of my life, this is going to sound super dumb to you, but one of the things I did was I purchased the component upgrade for Alien Frontiers before it came standard in the game. And the original domes were just like little colony domes, so they were just pieces of wood. But you could buy this upgrade pack that made them little plastic cities with acrylic transparent domes. And that was like, I mean, it just made the game so much cooler. So when I saw that they had an add-on that were these plastic domes that you could stick over top of the cities, like, I was in. There was no way I was not going to get those domes. So let's put one on a city right here. Oh, look at that. How much better. That looks awesome. Love it. Oh, it's so cool. That's like way better. That was, I don't know what I paid for that. Too much money. But that's whatever amount of money it is, it was worth it. That's cool. Down here, these are, of all the stuff in the expansions that I played, I haven't played Turmoil yet, and I don't think I've played Colonies yet. I have played Venus Next, which just gives you a different board and different goals. So if you get tired of like the same old board where the water is always in the same place and the perks you get from placing tiles are all in the same place, that's what Venus Next does. It mixes that up for you and gives you different goals to shoot for. Turmoil gives you a whole like parliamentary voting system, something like that. So I'll scoop all this stuff aside, and so they've made like a little judgy bench, I think, and then there's, I think in Colonies maybe there's little ships, and you can fly them to different spots and do trades to get different resources. So those are what some of the ships look like. Dark. And they look cool, and they look again like infinitely. Well, maybe not infinitely, because there's, what, 8 of them. They look ripe for the painting is what I'm trying to say. So these look already cool, but you can make them look like way cooler if you had any painting skills, which I do not. As you've seen from Bits Please, you know what's going on. And then, I don't know, I can't remember if this was an extra purchase or not, but this, I believe, is the Start Player Rover. Again, that would look gorgeous all painted up. That's what that looks like, and there's a special spot in the box for that. Over here, these are little plastic containers to store resources, I believe, for the different players, I would imagine. They look really neat, and they fit nicely, and they're plastic. I like plastic. I just do. I'm not too sure if Game Trays designed this one, but I really like Game Trays as a company and what they develop. Props to them if they did it. If not, props to whoever designed this stuff. Plastic, I think, for inserts is the way to go. Again, argue with me in the comments. What is this? These are probably, I'm guessing, some promo cards of sleeve. Oh, these are the sleeves. So these are, oh no, I'm sorry. These are not the sleeves. These are some sleeves. Nope, these are promo cards. Okay, these are sleeves to divide the cards wherever you end up putting them, maybe in this box. And these look like some promo cards. I'll open those real quick. I didn't buy, I think you could buy sleeves with this Kickstarter, and I don't know if I did because I don't sleeve my games, which may sound heretical to you if you're a big sleever. But for me, it's not super important for me to make sure that the cards don't get mega damaged. The only time I really sleeve a game is where if there's this, it's the kind of game where the slightest nick in a card can blow the whole game. So you only have, like, maybe it's like a deck builder kind of thing, like Lost Ruins of Arnak. And if those fear cards get like a nick in them, so you know when you're gonna draw them from your deck, and it would kind of blow the game, that's when I'll sleeve my cards so that they don't get those nicks in them. But when it's a game like Terraforming Mars that has like a stack of 8,000 cards or whatever, you're not going to remember which one has the nick in the top left and which one has the scuff mark down here. So I'm not as particular about sleeving that kind of game. Let's dig in further. More boxes. I mean, sure, there's a way to put all this together. One thing that they haven't put in here is some sort of legend or map about how everything's supposed to fit. And I can't, there's no finger hold to take this box out, so I'll just grab that one. Oh, there's another box under here. I didn't anticipate that. So this box, whoa, things are getting clumsy. Oh yes, so this is the box where you would stick all the cards and put your little dividers in there. That's fine, we get that. Cool. It's thematic and branded on the outside. Very nice. And the final box where you stick stuff in the game. Now, I am surprised that they didn't put a little legend in there. That's very useful. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to open all the stuff from my original boxes, and I'm going to rebox everything and stick it where I think it should go. I'll probably have to cheat and look up a couple of pictures of other people doing it, but we'll go into a time lapse and you'll see all of that coming together. Are you ready? Here we go. Okay, there it is all put together. What are we left with? Empty box, empty box, empty box, almost empty box. We'll see what's left inside my original Terraforming Mars box. So a couple of cards that are dumb, something that's blank. These are like the front pieces for the different decks you get. These are the boring, plain, arrow-shaped ships that are replaced with the cool-looking ones. These are the flimsy boards I told you about that don't have recesses in them. Look how, that's pretty bad, actually. I'm so glad that I have the recessed boards. All the tiles, of course, we don't need anymore, and a couple of little markers. I think that's correct. So all this stuff can go in the trash heap, and I can throw it away. But you know I'm not gonna, and it's just gonna take up shelf space for no apparent reason. Some of the stuff in this big box product I really, really like. It's super cool. Some stuff is mega dumb. And I wanted to show you what I thought the differences were. So just opening it up, all the instruction manuals go on top. I really needed an exploded view to help me put it all together. There's no way I could have done it without it. So all the 3D tiles, obviously there. The explodey bit has to come off. It can't, it's too high to sit underneath that lid. I don't know if I'm missing tiles or if they're just leaving room to sell me something in the future. There's a couple places in the box that you'll see that are like that. You lift that one off and you've got this one, so all the smaller boards fit in really nicely here. So I like that there are finger holes to grab these and pull them out, but then once you get sort of this deep in here, they're like, finger holes? Who needs finger holes? So this is a little bit tough to pull out. But let me move this to the side. Underneath so all of your colored player cubes go in here. Small boards in here, so if you got the rover, it goes there. Otherwise, you can just put your flat first player marker in here. This is a little deck box so that you can put all of your corporations in there, the different corporations that people get to play, and the dividers. So one of the things I like about the dividers that they provided is that they're double-sided, so they have a little symbol on them according to the expansion, and they're double-sided so that if you want to, they still look nice if you alternate the tabs, lefty righty, lefty righty. So I thought that was good. That was a good idea. A couple things that aren't a good idea. These things, apparently are card wedges. I've never used a card wedge, but it's, I guess the idea, I don't know what the idea is. So you're supposed to take your cards, so you've got like the draw pile, and if you look at the picture on the exploded view, it's a little bit ridiculous because it shows this deck of cards just sort of like sitting there magically defying gravity, and like that's not how physics works. So you're supposed to stick it here, I guess, on the wedge. I'll turn it to the side, and it's supposed to like stay like that, but of course that's not things. So when you put it down like that, the whole thing's going to slide like that, and I don't, is that useful that they're now slightly angled at a 30-degree angle? I don't know. I've never used a card wedge. I've never even heard of a card wedge before. I don't know. It just sounds like a cheap way to give somebody something to make it appear to have more value, but I don't know that I would actually use those things. A couple things I like. So this is one advantage I've mentioned before that plastic has over, say, if you're going to go with a wood insert or a foam core insert. So these drawers are scooped so that it's easy. It's not right angles where your fingers butting up against the corners of it or the edges of it. So it's easy to scoop things out of a tray like that. So I like that, and I really like that the plastic lids fit really nicely, and there's a little bit of a lip on them or a grip to them, so they're not going to pop off really easily. So those are nicely done for sure. All your little player color thingies, and they have finger holes to pull them out very easily too, which is great. So all the player cubes go in here, and I actually put the turmoil pieces in here, the little blue, I guess, parliamentary dudes. I've never played turmoil, so I don't know what the deal is with those, but I put all of the same color. But according to the exploded view, you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to put them in this tray, and this tray needs to go back to school. This is pretty dumb, I thought. This was the worst part of the whole box. So if you look at the exploded view, they have all of the little turmoil guys lined up beautifully down here, and all of the ships. These are cascaded in a lovely way. All the ships are lined up like nothing. There's no recesses to put anything in. It's just this big gaping pit, and you just chuck it all in. So those are not going to go nicely in there. They're just going to like bounce around and look like garbage. And I assume that's because whoever made these trays, I assume it was Game Trays, but the company that made these trays was commissioned before they knew what the ships were going to look like and what size and shape they were. That's my guess. So the company making the trays couldn't guess at how those were supposed to recess or fit in. So they're just like, nah, make a big pit and chuck them all in there. So everything's chucked in there. Your extra tiles and these cards for, I think, turmoil, and these guys in here. And these, I noticed, I forgot what these were all about, but instead of those generic white cubes to mark oxygen and the temperature, you got these cool little, see over here on the close-up cam, that's degrees Celsius, and that's a people, and this one is a fist. So some of these are expansion, I don't recognize them, but to monitor the O2, you've got this little one. So they're a bit cooler. They're a bit cooler than the white cubes, but it's a little crummy that they're one-sided. So you flip this over. It might be hard to see that on the close-up camera, but it's like it's recessed, so they are obviously like stamped into a shape, so they don't have nice backs on them. I don't know, does that bug you? You might have to be pretty picky for that to bother you, but it's something I'll point out. Otherwise, this looks awesome. I'm super excited to play. I actually get to play board games this weekend. The board game stuff is picking up now. We're kind of coming out of this whole, worldwide health crisis, which is kind of nice. I'd like to play this, but we're just going to play some simpler roll and writes with deference to the folks that we're playing with who don't really like complicated stuff. Do you like complicated stuff? If you don't know what's going on with Terraforming Mars, I'm sorry, I should have said off the top, I've got a how to play Terraforming Mars video for just the base game. So there's a link up there if you want to click that and watch from here. If you like this video, there are 3 very important buttons. There's a thumb, a subscribe button, and an alarm bell. Unfortunately, right now they're upside down. I don't know how to fix that. But if you turn your computer upside down and rewatch that part, they will appear right side up. But then the the problem is then the corresponding buttons on the YouTube interface are going to be upside down, and so you won't be able to. Anyway, you'll figure it out. If you're on a desktop, it's going to be a bit more challenging. But we also have a Discord server. If you want to join it, unfortunately, that's upside down as well. I'm sorry about that. But if you want to join us on the Discord server, we're there all the time. Me and the crew will play games with you. We'll talk to you about board games, and there are a few other channels if you want to talk about video games or pop culture or whatever it may be. Those are, if you like photography and you want to share some cool photos you've taken, you can share those with us in the Discord. They've got a few photographers on the crew who love to show off their stuff, and there's some amazing stuff in that channel as well. How did I afford this very expensive looking Kickstarter thing? Well, some of the people who hang out on the Discord server and elsewhere are backing me on my Patreon campaign, which, thank goodness, it's right side, there it goes, it's upside down as well. But you get the idea. If you go to patreon.com/knightsaroundatable, not only will your name light up if you visit us on the Discord server, showing that you're a backer, and it'll light up with a different color depending on which tier you're on, but I may also write you a poem. I will definitely include your name in the end credit sequence. At the end of every video, you can get access to my secret treasure trove of documents that's growing by the day. I'll give you some behind the scenes stuff. There's some blooper videos that you can watch, all kinds of stuff. And the money that I make on that Patreon campaign, after I splurge on drug-fueled weekends, of course, whatever's left over, I will spend on paltry things like Kickstarter campaigns. But it's cocaine first, and then Kickstarter. So if you'd like to fuel my habit, whether it's this habit or this habit, jump on the Patreon. I don't know. That's not a selling point, is it, for the campaign? Nobody wants to give money to a junkie. I have to work on my salesmanship. I think I really do. Please get involved. I'd love to talk to you. I'd love to see you. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll catch you again in the next one. Did you just watch that whole thing? Oh, hey, to 100% this video, click the badge to subscribe, and then click the bell to get notifications when I've got new stuff.